Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Klaus.
But you have a picture of Toy Story on
I
there.
have a picture of Toy Story. We're going to talk about Klaus and Toy Story and the Oscars and how we feel that Klaus got robbed.
Klaus got robbed, no question.
Now, we've reviewed Klaus. If you haven't seen Klaus, it is a Netflix original animated movie. It's absolutely amazing. We've been gushing over it. People say we're really negative on this channel, and this is one of the things that we actually just adored. We love this movie. We watched it around Christmas time. We actually didn't watch it when it dropped because it's like, oh, we'll get to it eventually. And then we're like, why didn't we watch this sooner?
It's
It
really,
was so good.
It's really well done. And they, brought innovation back, which is, exciting and new, and that you'd think that would deserve an award, but nope.
We have to give it to another Toy Story sequel because, Toy Story, Pixar, they don't have enough Academy Awards. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the animation industry. Now, this was floating around yesterday, and I think John Celestri, who we had on the channel before, he was an animator for Nelvana, and he posted it, and this girl's basically had enough.
But it's all the stuff we've been saying.
It's a lot of stuff we've been saying about the animation industry, how it actually works, especially working for a company like Disney, being such a big corporation. It's very corporate, very structured.
A lot of it's the same with media access and doing blogging as well. A lot of the same things we've run into with that too. But we've been on both sides of it, so yeah.
Yeah, and it could be, again, that we're seeing a direct correlation between, the company culture at Disney being very corporate and why, Disney plays it safe now with their animated movies compared to something like Klaus, which, tries new things.
Right, and what's sad is Disney used to even make comments basically like, I don't really care about the money, I'm more interested in making new things and pushing the envelope and finding new exciting ways to do things, and this is completely opposite of what Walt Disney would do.
It's not about the money, it's about sending a message. All right, so before we get into it, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We're almost 100,000 subs, guys. Thank you so much for that.
Woo! Yeah, we're getting there.
We're getting there. We do cover animation. We do cover anime. We talk about general pop culture. Pretty much whatever interests us that day is what we talk about.
If it's shiny, that's what we talk about.
If it's shiny like Woody's Academy Awards. I was going to say his Tin Star, but
there you go.
His Academy Awards. Woody's won a couple Academy Awards now. Should Toy Story 4 have won over Klaus? No. Flat
out, no. I even went to our Disney blog and I did an article on it because I'm sorry, it shouldn't have won over Klaus. It really shouldn't have.
So you wrote this article and you're talking about the innovation.
Klaus went and found a way to do 2D animation mixed with digital animation to make something completely new and exciting and visually awesome. And they even went to one of their own storyboard people were the ones who came up with the basic idea. And then they took that over to a company who I wrote on here what company was, but I can't remember which company it was called. It was in French. It was like the Red Fish something. It's the Film du Poisson Rouge. And they helped develop the equipment they use, the programs they use for this. And then they mixed in things you can buy for yourself, Toon Boom and Maya. And between those three things, they developed this completely innovative and beautiful 2D animation style that mixes 2D with digital, and you get this dynamic, gorgeous, smooth animation, and it's beautiful. And then the story, the music, everything about this film deserved the award. It was amazing. Yeah,
this film was obviously, people were complaining that Frozen 2 got snubbed. Frozen 2 felt like product.
Yeah, so did Toy Story 4.
Yeah, Toy Story 4, Frozen 2, Cars 3. There was a reason Disney feature animation didn't do sequels for the most part. I think they did Rescuers. But they didn't do sequels because they wanted to do something new every time they did a movie. And now it's just become an assembly line.
It is.
Because Bob Iger has to make the shareholders happy.
They wrapped Toy Story up with Toy Story 3. There wasn't even a need for Toy Story 4. And now what makes me sad is you have something like Klaus who legitimately deserved it. And then they don't even get it because it's not Disney.
Yeah.
Pixar.
Or Pixar. It's almost a given now that, if you're going to run against Pixar, you're going to lose. Except last year's Spider-Man got it, which was very surprising. I think Spider-Man is the same kind of thing where, I mean, I know people have mixed feelings about it, but it was a very innovative
Right, and it deserved
movie.
it. And I was excited when it won. I was like, okay, finally we're going to break this, and we're going to actually start looking for real films that that reward those who've earned it, who have the innovation, who have tried new things, who, do exciting, great stories, and not just because it's a certain person. And then we go back to it again this year.
Yeah, and it's almost like, I mean, was this an apology for not nominating Frozen 2? Because frankly, I don't think either movie deserved I mean, there were a lot of animated movies out there to be nominated in that caliber, and it's kind of sad because with Pixar, it's like even a bad Pixar movie is still better than 99% of everything else you see.
But it wasn't better than Klaus.
It was not better than Klaus. And it, I did not watch all of Toy Story 4. Pinky Boo was watching it. And I'm like, this just feels very samey. It feels like every other Toy Story movie.
But she said Klaus deserved it over Toy Story 4. She goes, it was so good. She goes, the ending was wonky on Toy Story 4. But she said Klaus was far superior. Yeah. And I mean, that's my 12-year-old. Okay? And it's, people are like, well, you just hating on Disney. No, I'm not saying Toy Story 4 was a bad movie. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying was, did it deserve to be Klaus? No.
No. Probably not. So, again, it's interesting, though, because we're talking about Disney and the lack of innovation. Now, Klaus did win the BAFTA. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
They won the BAFTA for Best Animated Feature. A well-deserved win. And I just wish more people knew about this movie, because they're like thinking, it's just some doofy Christmas movie on Netflix. But it's really amazing.
It's really gorgeous. Everything about it is beautifully done. And it's just sad that it got snubbed because they weren't the right people.
They weren't the right people, but they actually, a lot of those people used to work for Disney.
Yeah.
And they went out on their own, and this might have been part of the reason they struck out on their own, because we had this floating around. Cartoon Brew, there's a video on YouTube. I watched part of it. Janet Chan, she worked for Disney for like 4 years. And, like so many young animators, she's like, wow, this is going to be great. I'm going to work in animation. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be a wonderful experience for me. And it turned out to be drudgery for her. Mm-hmm. And she, pointed out some problems with Disney, with the culture at Disney. She's probably never going to work there again. Mm-hmm. But a lot of these problems, the cultural problems at Disney, might be why Disney's just kind of phoning it in now.
They are. And it's not just Disney. These problems that she's mentioning, we've seen with other studios. We're seeing it often. We see it in other aspects of Disney besides the animation. We've run into it ourselves on different projects.
Yeah, Disney is no longer the creative company it used to be. It is, we said before, it's kind of like the Borg. It is very corporate. The culture is very corporate. There's definitely a difference between like old school Disney animators and employees. People who worked for Disney back in the day before it went public, and the people working for Disney now that are new hires under this corporate regime. It's an entertainment behemoth, and it's got a lot of moving parts, and it's not personal. Like even back in the day, Walt used to sit down with all of his animators and explain the story, and you'd see him, and he was kind of waving his arms around and explaining the story, and you could tell that the animators were getting excited.
Even after Walt was gone, they continued that it was more about innovation for years, and that's just been in the last, I'd say since Iyer came in, especially, it's gotten more corporate, and it's not, like I said, it's not just Disney. A lot of other companies we're seeing, they're not taking chances, they're all phoning it in.
Sequels.
And it's the same thing. So this does not just apply to Disney, and not just apply to Disney in animation only. We've seen the same things in other aspects of Disney ourselves. But go ahead.
Yeah, so here's why she quit in disgust. I'm going to put a link to this. You can watch her video. I did watch a good chunk of it, and I agree with her. I think this is...
I agree too.
Knowing people in the animation industry and different arms of Disney and different production companies, she's not wrong. This is kind of what's going on. She said that she worked her way up to become a Disney television animation storyboard revisionist. Along the way, her hopes turned to disillusionment with the nature of the industry.
It's not just Disney, it's industry in general.
Yeah, and that's, there were videos going around talking about all the nepotism and all that.
But guys, this is everything we've been telling you for years, and people are like, you don't know what you're talking about.
That's true.
No, we do. Go ahead.
When she was offered a promotion, she quit instead. She explains why in a 10-minute video. This is what she said. Not going to run the video. Go watch it for yourself. The executives have poor creative judgment.
Yep, not just at Disney.
She said, I was on a preschool show when we were given the note. We are no longer allowed to draw angry eyebrows. the executive said. It's because we don't want to teach children being angry is okay.
It's much better to internalize that so that later on you can have lots of issues and go to therapy or, cause other problems.
Yeah, right. Aren't preschool shows supposed to be teaching children how the world works?
As a teacher, that's stupid. As a mom, that's stupid.
So what happens is, I mean, this is a whole other rant, but you can talk about, all the internalized anger that doesn't get let out when it should. You're not blowing off steam like you should, and then horrible things happen, at schools or whatever, because these people aren't allowed to vent when they should vent. They can't deal with their emotions. Just saying. Networking is king. I'm gonna
100%.
I'm gonna make this like super.
We cannot
big.
stress this enough, and this is not just Disney. This is in general, but this is definitely the case.
It's not about how good you are. It's about who you know.
It's honestly about whatever check marks you have anymore too.
It's a combination. In order to keep climbing the corporate ladder, it's more beneficial for you to form alliances or cliques rather than be good at your job.
100%. Yes.
That is 100% true. That's why, again, there was a video out there last year, I think it was Easy Peasy, talking about the animation industry and how incestuous it's become. It's because of this.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who's best for the job. It matters who your friends are.
Yep.
And if you all think the same way, which is why you're seeing things being skewed the way they're skewed.
Professionalism is sidelined. Unqualified people fail upwards. While talented people are passed up for promotion and ignored, sometimes this can throw entire productions into chaos because of one person's incompetence and ego. Toxic behavior is rife. Oftentimes, people are only kind to you if you're of value to them.
Right. Well, not just that, or if you agree with them.
Yeah. So if you're on the lower rung of the totem pole, you're treated like dirt. Imagine going to work, a place filled with people you respect and admire, and no one even makes eye contact with you.
Yeah, that's not right.
Because you're just a grunt. You're just a peon,
Yeah.
The working environment is dull and bureaucratic.
Yes.
At the end of the day, it's a Monday 9-to-5 job where I sit in my cubicle all day at my computer, or I have meetings about having meetings.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh my God.
I can't stress this enough. That's all the stupid corporate is. You have meetings about meetings about meetings.
The last average. Okay, so I worked in journalism for a while and I worked in marketing for a while. The last advertising agency I worked for, I used to complain to Geeky. I said, I swear to God, out of my 40 to 50 hour work week, I spend 30 of those hours in meetings.
About meetings.
And then
they're like, why aren't you getting done? You need to work overtime.
Yeah.
Because they don't, because they're bad planning.
9 to 5, my 9 to 5 schedule was filled with meetings, and then the actual work that had to get done, I would have to put in overtime just to be able to get that work done.
Right.
And then they come back on you and they're like, well, why aren't you getting more things done? I'm like, well, if we only had, a meeting on Monday morning, gave everybody direction for the week, and then stepped away, shit would get done.
Exactly.
But because we have 19 meetings a day.
Even in the media access and blogging, wasn't it so nice that you go on these media excursions, it would only be from 9 to 5?
It would be, but it's not.
It's like from 8 in the morning until 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
9 to 5 my foot. Anyways.
Yeah, the industry isn't honest about all of this. There's absolutely nothing wrong with having a corporate job. It's just I wish my school, the recruiters, the studio itself told me what I was walking into.
It's a bummer no one has told these people what could possibly happen if you go into these jobs and what to expect. It's a shame that we never did that in many videos.
It's a shame that we try to tell people what it's actually like, and they tell us we're just a bunch of haters trying to crush dreams.
Yeah.
We tell them what's like working in animation, or we tell them what's like working for companies like Disney.
Or why some of these schools aren't worth the money they're charging.
Why they're not worth the money. And a lot of it, and I've said before, I said art school should make it mandatory. Some of them do now. But they should make it mandatory that you take a business class or have to, job shadow someone, so you have realistic expectations. This happens in comics too. People are like, man, comics doesn't pay anything, and I'm working my ass off, and I went to school and I got a degree and I can't get a job, because again, that networking thing. So there are really unrealistic expectations, and we see it especially with people who recently got out of school. And we tried hiring people before for stuff, and it was just like they just had completely unrealistic expectations.
Oh yeah. I still love the one who was hired to do, coloring, and they knew that the turnaround had to be a couple days. They agreed to it when we hired them. We actually gave them $20 more than they asked for. They asked for something that was really low, and we could have just taken it. We paid them more. We paid them fairly for what they did.
Per page, yeah. I said it's too low. I said we're gonna pay you more because this is what's fair for entry level, in my opinion. So let's give you $20 more than you
And it
asked for per
wasn't
page.
difficult work.
No, it was
and
simple
they
stuff.
would not turn it in, and we would have our stuff be late because I have a headache. But then you find out they spent all day doing fan art pieces on Tumblr.
Steven Universe fan art on Tumblr. They were doing all kinds of Steven Universe fan art, and meanwhile, like our projects that we're paying for were like just not happening. It was like, oh my god. It's like we hired you to make it easier for us, and we even paid you more, and it's not getting
And I like to
done.
say it only happened with one person, but that wasn't the case. It was like 2 or 3 different
Two
people.
or three different people.
Same thing.
And they
all went to the same
They all went to the
place.
same
They all went
school.
to SCAD.
They all went to SCAD. I kid you not. They were all like recent SCAD graduates. And I'm not throwing shade at SCAD, even though even Alex Hirsch came out.
Because I think they overcharge for what they teach you. I don't think SCAD is worth the money they're charging. And that's from an art teacher. I'm an art teacher, and I'm telling you, it's not worth the money they're charging.
Well, yeah, Alex Hirsch came out and said he loves SCAD, but he said it was over. It was.
Oh yeah, I'm
they
sure
charged
the
too much.
teachers. Well, I'm sure the culture's nice, and I'm sure some of the teachers are nice, but it's not worth what they're charging.
Actually, I think it was Cal Arts. I'm sorry. I think Alex Hirsch went to Cal Arts, but
It was Cal Arts.
Yeah,
But
it was Cal Arts.
I'm telling you,
same thing.
I know what I know for SCAD was there was parents that were going after the school because basically they pay all this money and they were promised that their kids would be so marketable. And there's so many people that I went to SCAD that are working doing things that aren't related to art now because they don't. It's expensive, but it doesn't necessarily mean you get a job.
So it took her 4 years to realize animation's not for me. She now runs her own design and illustration business, which gives her the sense of autonomy she couldn't find in Hollywood. She admits that she felt guilty about resenting her career. She's well aware that many people would love to be in her place. This video then is her warning those people.
It's like, you know what? Like saying with Cal Arts and SCAD, if that's what you really want to do and it means so much to you, by all means, go. If it's that important to you and it means something to you, do it. If working for Disney is something that you want to do no matter what, by all means, go for it. What we're telling you is, I think you're going to find it's not everything you think it is. And as long as you're aware of that going into it, then fine. And you still want to do it, great. But just make sure you have all the facts before you do it, is all we're saying.
Yeah, so we got people subtweeting to her, note to animation students. Sometimes you're going to see animation professionals tweet, post, vlog angrily about the industry. It's a tough industry with ups and downs, but please remember there are a lot of ways to experience the industry.
You know what? Whatever, because it's not just this. It's just not Disney. It's other industry. It's other studios as well. And then we also come from the side of corporate and blogging and all that. And it's the exact same damn thing there too.
Yeah, it's
TV pitches, same thing.
I think, and part of it is, maybe people have unrealistic expectations going into it, but then part of it is, when you're working for a company like Disney, you expect them to be creative. And I can tell you, interfacing with a lot of people at Disney, that it is a very corporate environment. It's probably the most corporate environment right now, and it's starting to show with their product.
Yeah.
It's all designed by
executives don't know the people that are in charge that don't understand how it works. We're seeing it with Imagineering too, and because of it leads to a lesser product, and it stifles creativity, which is what's kind of cool that they're doing the thing with the Pixar with the little shorts. They're letting people do in the contest to try to make your own little film, and they're letting people be expressive in that way. And then of course they're putting it on Disney Plus to make money from it. Was it Short Circuit? Because they're doing the Short Circuit thing. That's really cool that they're letting them have that creative expression, but they had to find a way to monetize it to allow them to do so.
Well, and that's kind of just the nature of the beast, though, too, is as these movies become more and more expensive, they have to find ways to monetize. So you're going to see Frozen 2, you're going to see Toy Story 4, because you're going to sell merchandise.
And to these people that are subtweeting, these subtweeting people, it takes a lot more guts, to be honest, than it does to go on there and tell everybody exactly what they want to hear, so you'll get all the likes and the thumbs up currency. It takes a lot more guts to stand up and say, it wasn't what I thought it was. If you want to do it, that's great, go ahead, but just understand what you're getting into is it takes a lot more courage than this.
And what this is they don't want to lose their job, but yeah, it is currency, because anytime we tell people what's actually like working in comics or working with Disney or whatever, they don't want to hear it. We get so many people blindly defending the comic book industry or Disney, and so many of them have never even worked in and around it. They don't know what the hell they're talking about, but they say that we don't know what we're talking about.
Plus, when you have people out there telling you, and this applies to the animation jobs, it applies to blogging, it applies to all that. They have whole articles dedicated on their blogs about how you have to kiss Disney's ass and make sure that everything's, sunshine and kittens no matter what, to make sure you get media access. Why would you think it's any different to work in the animation departments or in other divisions of Disney or other companies, you have to say this, that, you know, if they say the sky's pink, you have to go all over the internet and say the sky's pink with fluffy clouds to make sure that they know that you're on their side. Because if you say, well, wait, it's blue, negativity.
Yeah, it can be, and I think with you know, the animation industry especially, you have so many people that want to break in to comics and animation that, you know, when people come in and they give you a dose of reality and they turn the hose on you and basically say, look, this is what's actually like, they completely freak out. They don't want to hear it. They want to hear that it's a pink fluffy cloud. So they tend to gravitate toward people who perpetuate that lie. You know, we see it all the time with the kind of the self-help.
The self-help gurus.
The self-help gurus of art and animation. Some of these people maybe never worked in the industry before, but they want to tell people.
Or they quit because it was garbage, and then they started their own. Follow me to find out how. Well, no, is anybody asking why aren't you there anymore?
Yeah, follow me to your dream.
Right, and then they just sell the lie because they know people they're gonna have a longer line for the lie than they are for the truth. So they sell that they themselves aren't doing it anymore.
Yeah.
Why? But everybody's lining up to give them their likes, their money, their whatever. Tell me how. Sell it, because I don't want to hear the truth. I just want to hear what my idea of the truth is. It's like that girl I told you guys about before. She was talking about how she was gonna quit her job and just move to California to be an animator. And I was like, did you have a job lined up? No. I'm just going to quit and go. Because and all her friends are like, that's right, you can do it. You're the best. I know 100% faith in you. I'm not saying she wasn't good. She was good. But I also would I wouldn't do that if I were you unless you already have something lined up, because you're just setting yourself up for trouble. I was negative. I was horrible. How dare I? How dare I tell her, you know, the truth? So she quit her job and went. And guess what? It didn't work out the way she wanted it. It worked out exactly like I said it was. And then she had to take a really, really crappy job that she could find that she hated and was begging people to give her, you know, gigs and so she could earn money to leave.
Yeah.
And I told her the truth. And you know what? People, oh my God, I got so much crap for it. How dare I, you know, crush her dream? I wasn't crushing her dream. I was saying it's a good dream, but make sure you have it lined up to make it a real dream and make it a reality. Don't just, you know, wing it and put yourself in a worse situation, which is exactly what she did.
Yeah, and look, there are a lot of options out there now. It's not like it used to be where if you want to work in animation, you have to work for the Disney code.
No, there's lots of places. But I'm going to tell you, you're going to find the same thing. We're hearing it with Rooster Teeth, with the Crunch and everything. You're going to find the same thing every company. It's all the same. I'm sorry, but it is. That's why this person didn't go to another company. She started her own thing because she knew. Doesn't matter where I go. It's going to be the same crap, different place.
Yeah, and you can love animation, you can work on animation, you can do your own animations on YouTube and not have to deal with that culture. But, you know, for so many people, it's like the dream is to go work for Disney or go work for DreamWorks or whatever.
I wanted to work for Disney.
Yeah. Would you now?
No, now that I know. I mean, when I was a kid, I wanted to so bad. I wanted to be an animator. I had a list of the 5 schools. I was accepted to Savannah College Art and Design. I didn't go because it was too expensive because I was out of state. But I did eventually get to work for Disney on the comics thanks to Kneon here. So I did get to do it. But now that what I know now after having been involved on the comic end, on the blogging end, with the animation pitches and some of the weird stuff that went down with that and everything else, would I willingly? No, not unless I had a really good contract and they were giving me lots of money for an idea.
Yeah, it's not a pretty industry. I mean, there are definitely good things to it, the creative industry, but people keep thinking, well, I don't want to work a mundane job. I want to be creative. And
they don't want to work retail. I don't want to work retail.
Well, and to be a lawyer or something, be a doctor, be a dentist. You're gonna make a lot.
Oh yeah, be a dentist, make a lot of money, and yeah, go be a dentist.
Be a dentist. You work like 32 hours a week and you'll make ridiculous money.
He used to work for dental marketing firm.
That was the marketing firm that had meetings about meetings. Yeah, we did. It was all cosmetic dentistry. Everybody had really nice teeth there.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah, we had meetings about meetings, and here are these dentists that were throwing buckets of money at us. They only worked like 32 hours a week.
And you're like, and how many times do you think, man, I should have been a dentist?
Many, many times.
Yes.
I was like, is it too late for me to go back to school to become a dentist? Because a lot of these dentists, they didn't even run their own practice. They would bring other people in, the hygienists and whatever, and they would just kind of clock in. And yeah, I'm like, man, that's where the money is. That's where the money is. Be a dentist.
And then do comics and art on the side.
I'd be like the Steve Martin.
You'd have a lot of time. Yeah, I was thinking it.
I would be. I'd be like the Steve Martin of the dental industry. But I wouldn't shoot puppies with a BB gun. I never would do that.
Better not.
I wouldn't do that.
I'd shoot you with a BB gun.
So there are lots of places to work now. Netflix is definitely ramping up its animation. So they're going to be looking for different studios to produce content. SPA that produced Klaus. I mean, they seem like they're a pretty good crew over there. Watching the video, the reaction.
They got more. I think they got more films. They're coming. They got offered, to do more. I think Sarah sent me that and said that they got offered more to do more films now because of it.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. What? Yeah. Netflix chief content officer Ted Sarandos recently boasted about an upcoming slate of animated movies, including one directed by Glenn Keane.
Oh.
They also got Ghibli everywhere but the U.S.
Right. Because HBO Max has it in the U.S. Disney didn't get that either. They dropped the ball there. So, yeah, Netflix is ramping up because they want to compete with Disney. And I have heard that the studio behind Klaus is getting more movie deals.
Yeah, so there are lots of places to work, and I imagine some of these studios probably are a little more creative than Disney
I'd go there. I think you have a much better chance of having a chance to be creative, and the people seem pretty happy there. So I recommend there over Disney.
And most of them were former Disney employees, and they went and they started their own thing.
They did for some reason. I'm just putting
it out there. I mean, Don Bluth, why'd he leave? And that was back in the day when it was better than it is now. So, but yeah, long and short, Klaus got robbed.
And and being an animator is not a bad thing. Just understand the reality and pick accordingly where you work.
Yeah, so that's what they're going to do. Your homework, any career field you want to go into, anything that
any of it.
I mean, if you want to go into an industry and you're going to spend tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars on an education to work in a field, you damn well better know what you're getting into.
Because you still have to pay that back even if you change your mind.
If you work retail, you're still going to have to pay back your $200,000 education.
Exactly.
So, all right, we're going to wrap this up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.
Bye.
Thinking about printing your own comic books, graphic novel, or manga? We recommend our friends over at PrintNinja. We've been using PrintNinja as long as they've been printing comics, and both the quality and price is excellent. Mention Clownfish TV and get an additional 5% overrun of your book order quantity printed for free. For free! That's free books, people. Just mention this offer on the phone or in the additional information box on the quote request form. That's printninja.com, or click on the link in the description below. Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.